What's going on, everybody? This is Renegade #1, aka the feminist killer, #Logitorian. Understand how we operate as human beings. As human beings, we don't operate off of logic. We're not meant to be consistent. We're not meant to follow laws. We're not meant to follow, we're not meant to be consistent. We're very fickle creatures because obviously, as long as there is emotion involved, there's always going to be irrational behavior. Really, most people in life seek pleasure, right? They don't seek truth. They don't seek knowledge. They don't seek consciousness, right? And what does it take to be knowledgeable? What does it take? Obviously, it takes you having the ability to stay disciplined with your time, you getting out of your conditioning, leaving this mainstream society and going into the consciousness realm. In order to go to that next level, in order to do that, you have to introspect. You have to look at yourself and say, okay, I'm a fucked up person. Now that you admit that you're a fucked up person, you have to get out of your own way, because I think most of us, it's not other people that cause our problems. It's us that causes our own problem. We are our own worst enemy. And so, first of all, you got to understand everybody's not black pilled. I don't care how many people throw that word around. Everybody can't be black pilled. And really, what's a synonym for black pilled? Everybody can't be logical 24/7. Linear thinking. Everybody, for the most part, humanity is animals, right? In order to take the black pill, you have to be 100% aware of what you're doing all the time. You can't take any breaks, right? No breaks. And as long as you continue to get choked up on the trickery that they put in front of your eyes, you're always going to be going through the same stuff over and over again. And like I said, once you see the true face of humanity, you can't do anything but look at it as a fucking parody, right? I'm pretty sure you guys have seen The Watchmen, the comedian, right? He chose to make a parody of how fucked up humanity was, right? He chose to make a parody of how corrupt society was, how evil human beings were. And so, though that movie is probably classified as, a fictional movie, there's a lot of truths in a lot of these superhero movies. Dr. Manhattan said, I can change bottles into snowflakes, I can teleport, but I can't change human nature. That's what Dr. Manhattan said. Dr. Manhattan said, I can't change human nature. Think about all the smartest people that have lived on this planet. They presented all the facts. They presented all the knowledge. They broke down things analytically to the simplest form. And guess what? People still don't give a fuck. People are still going to operate off of irrational, incoherent ways. They're just going to operate like that. They're going to operate off of their impulses. You can't stop somebody from not operating off of their impulses. I can sit here and say 2 plus 2 is 4. People don't care. People don't care about the truth. People don't care about reading. Today's age is money, status, sex, more status. It's the same thing. There's nothing important in life. Nothing's important. And so if you're counting on getting a large audience or people to understand you, you can forget about it, because we are animals. Everybody doesn't have the courage to say, fuck this world. Everybody doesn't have the courage to say, you know what? Though this is not the truth, I'm not doing that shit. A lot of people have to live a bullshit way of life because it's safe, because it feels comfortable. And as long as you continue to seek comfort, as long as you continue to seek that type of lifestyle, you will always play into the hands of the authorities. You got to understand that you are a prisoner. And you can look at it as in a metaphorical sense, or you can look at it in a literal sense where, okay, yeah, you're free to make money. You're free to work a 9 to 5, but are you actually free? You're paying your debt to society. That's what you're doing. Right. And so once you get to that Joker status, once you get to that comedian status where you just like, you can just laugh hysterically, maniacally. You can just laugh maniacally, right? And you just, because you know, not in a literal comedic sense, you know the world is a joke, right? And so there's nothing you can do to change human nature. And for those brothers who make channels, who want to bring in men and bring in, you know, new brothers and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to use our platform to save the world. I got to let you guys know, you cannot save people who don't want to be saved. You can't save people who don't value logic. You got to understand, a person who is logical, who's communicating with a person who's irrational, who's emotional, they're not on your frequency. You have to understand that we have more people who are comfortable with being led than leading themselves. Most people don't want to be leaders. They don't. Most people don't want to lead by example. Most people don't want to rebel against the system. The reality is we look for other people to validate us. So we see that the average person thinks that they need people in their lives. They need social media in their lives. You don't need that shit. Right? Most people still living in a fucking bubble, still chasing a dream, still chasing the so-called American dream. The real American dream, the real global dream, the real humanitarian award is, there is no award. You're going to live the rest of your life competing for nothing. You're going to be living the rest of your life scrambling over a few dollars, scrambling over a few resources, and then find a woman to get used by. And if you think that's a fair deal as a man to bust your ass and commit to yourself only to get pussy, you're a fool. Stop listening to these brothers out here tell you, oh, all you need to do is dick these hoes down and get rid of them. It's not that fucking simple. That's why I preach abstinence. I preach learning how to master the sexual impulse. If you cannot master the sexual impulse, you make yourself a tool for manipulation. I will say that again. If you cannot master your sexual impulse, your sexual urge, you will be taken advantage of. You got to understand, a woman is not going to make it easy for you to fuck her just to leave her. She's never going to make it simple. She's going to get something out of you. Right? So the biggest thing you want to do is, okay, I need to set up where I can master going without sex. Understand humanity. You're not doing anything different. You're doing what every other man is doing, thinking with his dick. Think outside the box. Do the things that most people don't want to do. That's how you make yourself better. If you're content with doing the same shit as everybody else, then you're making yourself mediocre. That's why I say, once you understand humanity, you can manipulate it. Once you understand humanity, human emotions, like I said about John Kramer, aka Jigsaw in the Saw movies, if you've seen those movies, John Kramer understood human nature, and therefore he was able to manipulate it. If you don't understand something, you'll always find yourself angry, depressed, and those feelings comes from a lack of understanding whatever you're trying to understand. If you understand female nature, you won't care if she leaves you for another guy. If you think for a second that you're important to a female, you still don't understand female nature. It doesn't matter how attractive you are. You can fuck a bitch 50 times. You can do whatever you want to her. She's not going to commit herself to you. Never. You know, and the scariest thing is a man who does not learn from his mistakes the first fucking time. You continue to put your faith in humanity. Faith is a synonym for stupid. Faith is a synonym for insanity. Keep trying and hope something happens. That is some dumb fuck ass shit. That's why you gotta get yourself together mentally and say fuck faith, fuck hope, fuck religion, because those things will put you on a fucking conveyor belt where you're continuously going on the same path over and over again. And then you're gonna look up 30 years later and realize, like, I'm still doing the same shit and I could have stopped 30 years ago. That's why I tell guys who are my age or younger, once you see this shit, take it in, swallow it for what it is, digest it, learn how to suffer, learn how to be without, and then you won't really give a fuck about the things you used to value anymore. But once you continue to value the same things, you continuously listen to the same media, right? What does media consist of? Music, television programs, right? All that Netflix, Hulu, whatever you consume on a day-to-day basis, you got to understand, you got to change that, right? And so part of a person being mentally ill in my book is not changing their mentality, right? You got to look at yourself. You got a lot of issues that you continuously try to mask over, right? Alcohol is not going to save you. Weed is not going to save you. You know, those things are not going to save you. They are not going to be safety nets. Once that high wears off, once that fucking bottle runs out and you run out of your last bottle, you're forced to deal with what? The uncomfortable truth. You are forced to deal with reality. So stop trying to run from reality and take that shit on, head on. That's how I'm so able to be comfortable. I'm able to be comfortable with the uncomfortable truth, if that makes any sense. I'm able to confront the uncomfortable truth, and I don't have anxiety problems. You know, anxiety is not a mental illness. Anxiety is a fucking cop-out for you not being able to take on your fucking fears because you're too fucking cowardly. I'm so sick of people saying, oh, I got anxiety problems. You don't got no fucking anxiety problems. You just being a bitch. You understand? Confront. Stop making excuses on why you can't get to where you need to go mentally. Stop measuring yourself off of other people's values. Humanity, listen, you don't need to be embarrassed. If you're ashamed to be knowledgeable in the midst of ignorance, then that's on you. You should not be ashamed to be knowledgeable. You should not be ashamed to be shitted on by a bunch of people. You should not be ashamed of being ridiculed, outlawed, exiled, right? There's always going to be someone who doesn't like you. That's human nature. And like I was talking to some brothers yesterday, once you start gaining knowledge, knowledge is power. I know we always hear that shit. Oh, knowledge is power. Okay, you trying to preach, read. But at the end of the day, when you don't know shit, when you don't know shit, you make yourself easy to control. That's why you see the dumb masses do the things that they do, because they don't know shit. They just go off of, they bite on anything. They latch on to anything, any fucking thing. Only idiots do that dumb shit. Knowledgeable people who know what the fuck they're doing, they sit back and they watch the masses operate like sheep. They don't bite on every little thing they put out there. They're completely mindful of what the truth is, and they can separate it from the lies. You got to understand that life is a business. It's a huge business decision, right? You either gamble, get fucked over, or you hold your cards back and you just throw in your cards. You don't care, and you just do your thing. You got to make a business decision. What do you care about? What do you care about? But understand, life is a fucking joke. Don't listen to what they tell you on television. They don't know what the fuck they talking about. They got a script. People are selling their souls. They're selling you lies for money. And that's just how it is. Stop worrying about getting bitches. Change your fucking mindset. If anybody tries to flush those ideas into your mind, you need to unsubscribe from those people. I'm not here to sell you a feel-good story. I'm not here to come up with some formulaic answer on how to get bitches. If you are a virgin, look at that shit as a good thing. The thing is, if you are a guy that hasn't got laid, right? You're probably 20-something years old. You haven't got laid. You can either you can continue to choose to perceive that as a bad thing, or you can be like, damn, I'm not damaged. I don't got to deal with no baby mama drama. I don't need to hear a bitch. I don't need to compete for a bitch constantly. I don't need to jump through fucking fire hoops and do backflips for some fucking pussy and shit like a lot of other these dudes. You can look at it like, okay, this is the opportunity for me to advance my level of thinking. You got to understand, most people confuse movement with progress. Most people don't progress in life. They get older, but they don't do anything. They get 40 years old, make a little bit of money, and they think they're making fucking progress. They're not. Real progress is enhancing your knowledge. Mentally, are you still doing the same shit you did a month ago? Are you still doing the same shit you did 2 years ago? You got to break those fucking habits. Some people get mad at me because I call out things that they do and I say, oh, they're bad things. They're detrimental to your health. You got to understand, humans don't have your best interests. Everybody's trying to step on each other to get to the top. That sounds like corruption to me. That sounds like a rat race. And what most people don't realize is this is blue pill level thinking right here. Most people think they can win the rat race. Nobody wins the rat race. Only a fool thinks he can win something that he's not meant to. He wasn't given the ability to win in the first place. Life is a game that's not meant for anybody to win. They give you the illusion that you can win the game. We're a bunch of rats, right? We are all a bunch of rats, and all they do is put a piece of cheese on the hook, and they get you. They just try to lure you in. That's all they try to do. Life is meaningless, right? And you have to be comfortable with understanding that life is full of shit. Life is bullshit. There's nothing important in life except for knowledge, and then you got some brothers that would ask me the question, which they have, is, okay, Renegade, so what's the point of improvement when life is pointless? The thing is, though life is fucked up out here, you don't have to be in that frame of thinking. Just because life is pointless does not mean you have to be depressed. That's bullshit. I'm not depressed. I understand life is fucked up. You got to have an active nihilistic standpoint. If you're that type of person that's like sitting in a slump constantly day by day, oh, life sucks, you're fucking yourself in the ass. You're screwing yourself over. Write a book. Read. Gain more consciousness. Right? Understand. Learn how to be a renegade without feeling bad about it. That's the thing. When you are a non-conformist in society, When you have an abnormal way of thinking, right? People shame you for what they can't do. That's why it's so much pressure being a fucking renegade. Because most people they're jealous of you not conforming. You got balls. They don't have balls. Anybody can put their head down and follow the fucking pack. But it takes a virtuous individual to be like, okay, I'm gonna keep my head up. I don't give a fuck what any of you guys say. That's how it is. But you gotta let your ego go. You gotta let all this superficial bullshit go. You gotta train your fucking mind not to want. You have to train your fucking mind not to want. The same information that you continuously avoid is the same information that's the key to your growth. Oh, I don't want to do that. I still want to indulge in doing superficial dumb shit. I still want to smoke my weed. I still want to chase bitches. That's your fucking problem. You still want to do that same degenerate shit, and you continuously find yourself in a circle because you're in denial. You don't want to accept it. And until you decide to accept that, you're going to continue doing the same dumb shit over and over again. But hey, if you want to be a clone, that's fine. But I understand human nature. I understand human nature is a fucking joke. I understand humans are nothing but savages who just want to compete for resources. We're just a bunch of monkeys competing for a banana. And whatever monkey has the most bananas, they all go after that one monkey. This is all a fucking rat race. And for me, the black pill people, they know not to participate in the fucking rat race. I didn't vote because I know voting is bullshit. I know politics is it's a fucking dick measuring contest. It's a fucking puppet show. I know that shit. But if you don't know that, how can you sit there and call yourself black pill? That's what you got to understand. This shit is bullshit. Stop regurgitating the same bullshit that you think is going to get you a lot of attention. Real black pill people, we're not looking for a popularity contest. We just tell the truth. At the end of the day, you got to understand, if you don't like the truth, that's on you. The truth doesn't have sides. I'm not against anybody. See, the people that have a problem with me, they have a problem with the truth. Those are people that have a problem with me. They have a problem with themselves. They have a problem looking in the fucking mirror. I can look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm fucked up in these areas. I need to work on this shit. Most people can't do that. Most people want to talk about how strong they are in certain areas, but they don't want to acknowledge their flaws. I understand it. Most people have egos. Most people are narcissistic. Most people are addicted. They live an addictive lifestyle. Life is full of addictions. And if you don't break those addictions, you will be a slave to those addictions. Human nature. Humans, we are a bunch of rats in a fucking maze. Going in circles. Thinking that we're going to win the game. You are never going to win the game. If I live long enough to be an old man, 70, 80 years old, life is still going to be the same. There's nothing here. There's nothing spectacular. There's no fucking M. Night Shyamalan twist to life. Life is real simple. Life is real simple. If you got enough money, you can buy yourself a good lifestyle and attract fake people. Life is about reproducing, passing on your genes, and bringing that next person into this fucked up world so they can do the same thing. If you don't abide by the society that's in front of you, you're going to be outcasted, and life is going to be a hell of a lot harder. And just because life is difficult does not mean you're doing something wrong. And and I said this before, we always assume that if we get a negative reaction out of people, then we're doing something wrong. No. Usually when you get a negative reaction out of people, it's probably because you're not doing what most people are doing. People look at you when you're not doing something that everybody else is doing. We live in a herd mentality culture. That's just how it is. We're animals. Just like if a lion is doing something that a lion is not supposed to do, the other lions are going to look at that one lion and be like, what the fuck? You need to be chasing down gazelles. You need to be, vicious. But if you don't do that, if you don't play into the stereotype that a human being is supposed to play into, or a male who's supposed to play into, something's wrong with you. That's life. Embrace that shit. And like I tell you, if you do not practice the stoicism philosophy, you are not going to be able to handle the fucking black pill. For those who look at the black pill as just some shit that's negative, depressing, boring, those are people that don't understand the black pill. Those are people that don't want to further their knowledge. They just take the black pill for face value. If you're not reading, if you're not doing any research, if you don't understand how the mind works, you're going to be in the same position your whole fucking life. You sitting there contemplating suicide, that's because you don't understand the fucking black pill. You got to understand it. But hey, if you don't want to change, that's fine. That's on you. I'm not about to sit here, cry about a man killing himself. I don't give a fuck. That's on that man. At the end of the day, you chose that. You made a choice of not understanding. You made a choice to elude the truth because it made you feel uncomfortable. Most people, you got to understand, are not going to change their mentality. That's why I say don't focus on trying to change people, because you're going to get frustrated and they're going to be laughing. Most people, you got to understand that once the human mind is heavily programmed for a certain period of time, most likely that mind is going to be, most people have a fixed mindset. Most people are stubborn, right? And so if a person's 30 years old, do you really think they're going to just stop and change all that 30 years of conditioning? They're not. Most people can't do that. This is a 1%er ideology. This is an esoteric fucking lifestyle. We might as well be teleported to another fucking planet. We are not human beings. Yes, we're physically human beings, but our mentality, we are the logical ones. We are rational 100% of the time. But this is Renegade number 1. Understand how this shit works. Understand human nature. Continue doing research. Continue reading books, and you'll understand where I'm coming from. If you are a person who doesn't value logic and doesn't value knowledge, then you shouldn't take the black pill. You should just be another person, be another copycat, be another number, continue chasing desires and continue suffering, to tell you the truth. But that's that. But this is Renegade number 1. Like the video, share, subscribe. Peace.